Da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum. What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. Today we're excited to check out Munchkin Loot Letter from AG or Steve Jackson Games, or I don't know, we'll just say it's from Fantasy Flight Games. This is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 plus, so take about 20 minutes to play. And Munchkin Loot Letter is a micro game, is a spin-off from Love Letter, but with a Munchkin theme. Does it put its own unique spin on Love Letter? Let's open it up and I'll tell you. It doesn't, don't get excited. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what's going to get inside of Munchkin Loot Letters. First and foremost, we get our handy dandy little rule booklet. And this is a little rule booklet. It's 20 pages, double-sided. It's got humorous artwork in there. And honestly, the last half of it just about is just how all the different cards work. Very well done. I'll have you up and running in no time at all. I can probably teach you how to play right here and right now. Before we get started, I do want to mention it comes with a Munchkin promo card. What? It's actually a really good promo card. Plus 10 to monsters, plus 20 to dragons. If you know Munchkin, you know that's a really good card. So, in Munchkin Loot Letter, you are going to be going through this deck right here, and you're going to be trying to eliminate all of your opponents or have the highest number once all the cards have ran out. So we'll go over the components, and we'll get a little bit into the gameplay. So first and foremost, we got these little yellow cubes. These are just to keep track of how many points you have, because X amount of points will win you the game. By points, I mean how many games you've won, because you're essentially going to be playing the same game over and over and over again. I recommend going to 3 at just about any number, just because after 4, 5, 6, it gets kind of repetitive. But that's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary. So first and foremost, you're going to have your handy dandy little cheat sheet card here. It's very useful, mostly just for this side, which tells you all the different cards that are in the game and how many cards there are of that. So for instance, you would know there are 5 potted plants, 2 wishing rings, so on and so forth. It also tells you what all the cards do, so it's very, very useful. Last, we have the sequence of play. You'll probably need this once or twice, but to be honest with you, it's extremely simple. You draw a card and you play a card. Last but not least, we're going to have cards, and more cards. And I'll show you the cards right now. There's going to be a couple different kinds of cards. We'll go over them in order. So first we have the potted plant. That's going to allow you to guess a player's hand. Aside from potted plants, if you can guess what's in their hand, so for instance, if you played this card on this guy and said, I think you have a 3, he would look at his hand, and if he had a 3, he would be out. He does not. So he'd say, I don't have a 3. Pretty simple. Next we have the 2, the mall rat. Look at another player's hand. So you could use this in conjunction, potentially, with the potted plant. Maybe if you can sync it up. So 2 is going to let you look at someone else's hand. 3, the duck of doom. You and another player secretly compare hands. The player with the lower value is out of the round. So that one's a little bit of a gamble. Let's see. Next, we have the Wishing Ring. Until your next turn, ignore all effects from other players' cards. This essentially is just a leave me alone card. Really good card to always play. Next, you have number 5, the Net Troll. Choose any player, including yourself, to discard his or her hand and draw a new card. Now, that sounds like a pretty innocent thing. However, if they have the loot and discard it, they are automatically out of the round. So that's a good one, especially if you think someone has the loot. Next, we have the Dread Gazebo. Trade hands with a player of your choice. And last but not least, we have the Turbonian Dragon, which, let's see, is right here. Last one I look at. If you have this card and the Dread Gazebo or Net Troll in your hand, you must discard this card. So, those are all the different cards that you're going to have in the deck, and I'll show you how they sync up a little bit. We'll show you how the gameplay works. So when you first start the game, you're going to deal out 1 card to each player, then you're going to take 1 card and set it off to the side so no one has perfect information. So, on your turn, you are going to draw a card, and then you're going to take 1 action. It's very, very simple. The action you have is one of these 2 cards. So right now, I could either look at another player's hand, or I could name a non-potted plant card and choose another player. So you know what? I'm actually going to look at another player's hand, and I'm going to look at this guy's hand. And we can see right here, he has a 7, which is a pretty good card. So I would now have that information, and it would go on to this guy's turn. So he would draw a card, and he would play a card. So he's got, look at another player's hand, the Duck of Doom. And he might just say, you know what, I'm going to look at another player's hand as well. I'm going to look at this guy's hand. We see he has a potted plant. So now it's this guy's turn. He would draw a card and he would play a card. Duck of Doom and the potted plant. So we might just say, you know what, I'm going to guess that this guy has a 4. And he would look at his hand and say, don't have a 4, haha. And we'd move on to this guy right here. He would draw a card and he would play the card. Play one of the cards. So let's see. If you have this card in the Dread Gazebo or Net Troll in your hand, you must discard this. So he has to discard this card. So he might play down this card. Now, this is a really good card to have in your hand because it's the second highest card in the entire deck with a 7, which means now this guy is going to draw a card and he's going to be like, he discarded that number 7. So I think maybe he probably either has the Net Troll, the Dread Gazebo, or, of course, the Loot, number 8. So you know what? I'm going to take a stab in the dark. I'm going to play my Potted Plant, and I'm going to guess that he has the Net Troll because there are 2 Net Trolls as opposed to 1 Dread Gazebo, so he's betting the odds, and he'd say, oh man, I do have that Net Troll, and he would be out of the game. So now it's just down to 3 players, and they would continue, and either until all of these cards run out, at which point whoever has the highest number would get a cube, or until everyone except for 1 player is eliminated. That player would gain a cube. You would rinse, wash, and play until whatever number of wins you've decided on. And that, in a nutshell, is how you play Munchkin Loot Letter. Alrighty then, Munchkin Loot Letter from Arcane Wonders. What were my final thoughts? Let's go to the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, if you didn't like Love Letter, this is not going to change your mind because it is the exact same game, which is going to be a con to some people. Some people might be hoping that there's something different, a unique little twist. There's not. It's the exact same game, but with the distinctive artwork and humor from Munchkin. Also, all your typical Love Letter cons. It doesn't play well at 2 players. It's not a meaty game. There's not too much strategy. It can get repetitive. And that's what I got for the most part. Because moving on to the pros, Munchkin Loot Letter is a copy of Love Letter, and Love Letter by itself is a great game. I do like this version better, and I actually did replace Love Letter with this version, just because it's a little bit easier to get it played, especially with the kids that I'm playing with. I play with a lot of 10 to 13-year-old boys, and they really would rather play with the one with the dragon, as opposed to the pretty princess with the red bag. So that's a good thing, but that's your mileage may vary type of thing. What else did I like about the game? Cards are nice. I like the distinctive artwork and humor. It comes across a little bit. You might chuckle here or there, especially if you're a Munchkin fan, which is always a good thing. It does come with a Munchkin promo card. Woohoo! It's actually a really good promo card that can add plus 20 to dragons, which is kind of crazy if you ever get to use it in Munchkin. I have not yet, but I'm excited for when that opportunity arises. It comes in a nice compact bag. It's cheap, it's portable, easy to learn, easy to teach. I've already said all this about Love Letter, and this game's great. I mean, it's just that simple. But do you need it if you already have Love Letter? No, of course you don't, because it's the exact same game. But if you don't have it, Munchkin Loot Letter is not a bad one to check out. So that is Munchkin Loot Letter from the Flux Capacity. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below and in the comments below. Let me know, have you ever forgot someone's name, and how do you do it? I know you've forgotten someone's names, but how do you personally make it so that you can find their name? Me personally, I get over to my wife and like, ask her name, 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 I need you to ask her name, I need you to ask her name. And it's really uncomfortable and awkward, but I have such a bad memory, it's such a terrible thing. But how do you do it? Give me a tactful way that I need to learn on how to get someone's name. And yes, I know I could just ask them what their name is, but I don't want to do that. I want to be clever about it. Why am I still talking? As always, thanks for your time, YouTube.